The glass shattered against the wall. Jungkook's chest heaved violently as he stared at the man standing in front of him, trembling, pale, eyes filled with tears. "Don't," Jungkook said coldly. "Don't look at me like that." V, his husband, the man he once loved more than breathing. "Jungkook, please, listen to me," V whispered, one hand protectively resting over his slightly swollen stomach. "Listen," Jungkook laughed bitterly. "To what? Another lie? Another excuse? I didn't cheat on you." "Stop." The word came out sharp like a blade. "The Jungkook who loved you," he continued, voice shaking with suppressed rage, "is dead." V's lips trembled. "You are only in this house," Jungkook said, "because of that child. When the baby is born, you'll leave." The silence that followed felt suffocating. "I love you," V whispered. Jungkook's eyes darkened. "I hate you." V flinched like he had been struck. Jungkook had been smiling. Actually smiling. He carried a bouquet of soft white lilies, V's favorite. He remembered how V once said they looked like clouds dipped in sunset. He opened the front door quietly. "V," he called softly. No answer. He stepped forward, and then he heard it. A voice, a man's voice, low, close, from their bedroom. Jungkook's heart dropped. The flowers slipped from his fingers as he pushed the door open. There, on their bed, V, and another man, too close, too intimate. V's eyes widened in horror. "Jungkook." But Jungkook saw red. He dragged the man off the bed violently and punched him without thinking. V screamed, trying to pull him back. V tried to grab Jungkook's arm. "Please listen." But Jungkook shoved him away. "Both of you, out." The other man ran. Then he turned to V. The betrayal in his eyes was lethal. "I loved you." V dropped to his knees, tears streaming. "You think I'd betray you?" he cried. "I saw you," Jungkook screamed. V shook his head desperately. "It wasn't like that. I don't want to hear it." And with that, Jungkook walked out, leaving V alone with the broken lilies and a secret he never got to tell. The monitor beeped rapidly. Doctors rushed in and out. V lay unconscious, sweat covering his pale skin. The pregnancy had complications, severe internal bleeding. The doctor pulled Jungkook aside. "His body is weak. We can't save both. You need to choose." The world stopped. "Choose?" Jungkook whispered. "Yes, your husband or the baby. Choose." Choose between the child he claimed he only stayed for, or the man he claimed he hated. Jungkook's breathing grew uneven. Images flashed in his mind. V laughing in the kitchen. V falling asleep on his shoulder. V whispering, "I love you." And then V in another man's arms. His jaw clenched. "Save V." The doctor blinked. "And the baby?" "I don't need the baby." His voice cracked. "I need him." For the first time since that day, Jungkook broke down. "If he dies," he whispered, "I die too." The doctor nodded and rushed back inside. Jungkook collapsed into the chair. He hated him. He did. So why did it feel like he couldn't breathe without him? Hours later, a cry filled the hallway. A baby's cry. The doctor stepped out, smiling faintly. Both survived. Jungkook's knees nearly gave out. "A girl," the doctor added. "A daughter." He walked inside slowly. We looked pale but alive. In his arms, a tiny baby girl. She had Jungkook's eyes and his soft nose. She's perfect, he whispered. But the hospital room felt cold because Jungkook stood near the window, distant, unreachable. V's chest tightened. He couldn't do this anymore. He couldn't live being hated. He couldn't watch the man he loved look at him like a stranger. That night, he wrote in a small brown diary, page after page, tears staining ink. If you ever read this, he wrote, I hope you finally believe me. I can't do this, V whispered to himself one night. The hospital room was silent. V stared at his daughter. She's beautiful, he whispered. Tears rolled down his cheeks, but they weren't tears of joy. He remembered Jungkook's words, You're out once the baby is born. He looked at his daughter's tiny fingers. I can't let you grow up watching your father hate me. His chest tightened. I can't survive his eyes anymore. That night, Jungkook entered the room. V was sitting beside the crib. Too still, too quiet. V? Jungkook called softly. No response. The diary lay on the floor, and V was gone. Jungkook's scream echoed through the room. The house no longer echoed with screams. Now it echoed with silence. Jungkook had mastered the art of surviving without living. White lilies still sat on the dining table every Friday. Ha-yoon had asked once when she was 3, Appa, why do you buy flowers if nobody lives here except us? He had no answer. Now she was 5, old enough to notice absence, old enough to ask questions he wasn't ready to answer. Appa, where is Yoma? It was a simple question, but it shattered him more than the day he lost V. Haun sat on the couch, small legs swinging, holding her stuffed bunny. Her eyes, those same soft eyes, the ones we had the night he whispered, I love you. Jungkook knelt in front of her. Ioma, his throat tightened. Ioma lives in the sky. Ha-un frowned. Then why doesn't she come down? Other kids' moms come to school. The innocence in her voice cut deeper than any knife. That night, Jungkook sat in V's old room. The locked room. The one he never entered. The one that still smelled like him. He pressed his forehead to the door. I'm failing her, he whispered. Jungkook's mother had grown tired of watching her son decay. You're still young, she insisted. Haun needs a mother. You need a wife. I had one. You had, she corrected softly. They arranged a dinner. The woman's name was Kim Sok-jin. Beautiful, kind eyes, elegant. He smiled gently at Haun. Haein didn't smile back. Jungkook was polite, but cold. After dinner, Jin spoke carefully. I know you still love your husband. Jungkook's expression didn't change. He continued, I love someone else. You deserve someone who can love you properly, he said flatly. And you? I'm already married, even if he's gone. Jin understood and left, and Jungkook remained alone. It happened on a rainy afternoon. Jungkook had gone to a cafe near Ha-eun's kindergarten, and then he saw him across the street. Same soft hair, same delicate features, same way of tucking strands behind his ear. Jungkook's breath stopped. The world blurred. Quiet. The man turned. Their eyes met, but those eyes held no recognition, just confusion. He wasn't V, but he looked like him, so much that Jungkook's hands trembled. His name was Kim Taehyung, younger, an orphan, working part-time jobs to survive. The resemblance was cruel, painful, unfair. Jungkook offered him a job, then something more. I want you to marry me. Taehyung stared at him in shock. You don't even know me. I don't need to. The words were brutal. This marriage isn't about love. Taehyung swallowed. Then what is it about? My daughter. Silence. She needs a mother. And you. Jungkook's voice turned cold. You look like one. Taehyung felt something sink in his chest. You live in the house. Take care of her. Attend school meetings. Cook. Clean. A nanny, Taehyung said quietly. Yes. And you? I won't love you. The honesty was sharp. You are my responsibility. I will take care of all of your needs. But you will stay away from me and I won't touch you unless necessary. Taehyung hesitated. He had nothing. No family. No security. No place to belong. I accept. The wedding, it was quiet. Cold. No music. No joy. Haeun wore a small white dress. She stared at Taehyung curiously. Are you my Ioma? Taehyung's heart cracked. If you want me to be. She stepped closer. You look like the picture. What picture? But Jungkook pulled her away gently. Enough questions. The house changed after Taehyung moved in. There was laughter again. Soft footsteps. Gentle humming while cooking. Ha-un slowly grew attached. She would sit in Taehyung's lap, play with his hair, call him Eomma. Jungkook would freeze every time, because the voice, the way Ha-un said it sounded like the past repeating itself. One afternoon, while cleaning, Taehyung found it. The door at the end of the hallway, locked, dust untouched. He asked casually at dinner, what's inside that room? Jungkook's fork stopped midair. Don't go near it. But what is it? My wife's belongings. Taehyung's stomach tightened. You still keep everything? Yes. The conversation ended there. That night, Jungkook left for work. Taehyung entered their bedroom to place folded clothes. And then he saw them. Photos. On the nightstand. Pictures of a man. The same face. His face. Smiling beside Jungkook. Laughing under cherry blossoms. Taehyung's hands trembled. He picked one up. That's me. But it wasn't. The man in the pictures wore soft beige sweaters Taehyung had never owned. He stood beneath cherry blossoms Taehyung had never seen. He smiled at Jungkook in ways Taehyung had never been smiled at. The angles were intimate, loving, personal. Taehyung's fingers trembled as he flipped one over. A date. 6 years ago. I was in the orphanage 6 years ago, he whispered. His breathing became uneven. The resemblance was not slight. It was exact, as if he was staring at an alternate version of himself. When Jungkook returned, Taehyung was waiting, holding the photo. Who is he? Jungkook's expression hardened. You went into my things. Who is he? Taehyung repeated. My husband. The word hung heavy. You married me because I look like him. Yes. Do you even see me? Silence. Or do you just see a replacement? Jungkook stepped closer. You knew the terms. I deserve to know. You deserve nothing beyond what we agreed. The words were sharp, dismissive. Taehyung swallowed. I don't even have proper clothes, he said quietly. I came here with one suitcase. Jungkook finally looked at him, and for a split second, his gaze softened, then hardened again. Tomorrow, Jungkook said, we'll go shopping. Not kindness, obligation. Still, it was something. The mall was crowded, bright lights, happy couples, families laughing. Taehyung walked beside Jungkook like a shadow. Jungkook chose clothes quickly, minimal conversation, neutral colors. Nothing that resembled the soft pastels in the photographs, as if he was consciously avoiding recreating memories. Taehyung stepped into the fitting room. He looked at himself in the mirror. Same face, different soul. When he stepped out, Jungkook froze. The white shirt, the way his hair fell. For a heartbeat, time rewound. Then Jungkook clenched his jaw. Change it. Taehyung's chest tightened. Why? Just change it. Rain poured heavily as they drove home. Taehyung's voice trembled but didn't stop. Did he die? Yes. Then why does he look exactly like me? Jungkook's grip tightened on the steering wheel. Stop. No, Taehyung's voice cracked. I look at those pictures, I deserve an explanation. The car screeched to a stop. Jungkook turned to him, eyes burning. You want the truth? Taehyung nodded. You're nothing but a replacement. The words hit harder than the slap. You think I don't see it? Jungkook continued bitterly. Every time you smile, every time you tilt your head, it's like he's standing in front of me, and I hate it. Taehyung's breath caught. You hate me because I look like him? I hate that I can't escape him. Rain battered the windshield. And I hate that sometimes, for a second, I forget he's gone. Taehyung's voice softened. That's not my fault. Jungkook's eyes darkened again. Get out. Taehyung blinked. What? Get out of the car. In this rain? Now. The door opened. Cold rain soaked him instantly, and the car drove away. Taehyung stood under the streetlight, trembling. Headlights approached again. A car stopped. The window rolled down. Park Jimin, Jungkook's old friend. I thought that was you, Jimin said gently. Get in, Jungkook sent me. Taehyung hesitated, then slid inside. Warmth, safety, something Jungkook not offered. Jimin handed him a towel. He doesn't hate you, Jimin said quietly. Taehyung laughed hollowly. He just threw me out in the rain. He hates himself. Silence. He loved someone once, Jimin continued, more than anything, and he destroyed him. Taehyung's fingers tightened around the towel. Destroyed? He cheated him, and Jungkook saw it. Jungkook was ready to forgive him, but he took his life. So I'm punishment? He looks at you, Jimin said softly, and sees what he lost. That's harder than hatred. Then why marry me? Because his daughter needed a mother. And what about what I need? Jimin didn't have an answer. The next afternoon, Taehyung picked up Hyun alone. Jungkook had texted only one thing: bring her home safely. As Hyun ran into his arms, calling, Aoma, Taehyung felt warmth again. Maybe that was enough. But then, a man stood near the school gate, watching him, smiling strangely. When Ha-un ran ahead toward the car, the man stepped closer. We? Taehyung froze. Yes? The man's eyes scanned him slowly. You don't remember me? Taehyung's heart pounded. Should I? The man leaned closer. You've changed, but not enough. I think you're mistaken. Oh, I'm not, the man whispered. You thought you could start over? Cold fear crept up Taehyung's spine. I don't know you. The man smiled darkly. You will. Hyun called from the car. Aoma. The man's gaze shifted. You have a child now? His smile faded. This will be interesting. Taehyung's voice trembled. Who are you? The man stepped back slowly. Someone from your past. And then he disappeared into the crowd. That night, Taehyung couldn't sleep. Past? What past? He had no family, no memories beyond the orphanage. No one who would look at him like that. Unless something connected to the V, and suddenly The resemblance felt less like coincidence and more like fate, or something far darker. The house was too quiet. Jungkook had left early for the office. Hyun was at school, and the hallway felt longer than usual. Taehyung stood in front of the locked door, the door that held a ghost. His fingers hovered over the handle. "I'm sorry," he whispered, though he didn't know to whom. The key wasn't hidden well. It was in Jungkook's study drawer. The lock clicked. The air inside was different, still, preserved, like time had stopped the day we died. Soft beige curtains, a neatly made bed, white lilies dried and pressed inside frames, a faint scent of lavender. Taehyung stepped inside slowly. On the desk sat a leather-bound diary. The cover was worn, embossed with a small engraving, Vkook. Taehyung's chest tightened. Vkook. V plus Jungkook. A name made from love. He hesitated, then opened it. "If you're reading this, Cook, I hope you're smiling." The handwriting was delicate, soft. He swallowed and kept reading. The house had once been filled with laughter. Jungkook. We. Carefree. Happy. Until Hajun returned. Hajun had been Jungkook's childhood friend. Loud, charming, confident, too confident. The day he arrived, he hugged Jungkook tightly. "You've grown," Hajun grinned, "and you married someone prettier than I imagined." We smiled politely, but something in Hajun's gaze lingered too long, too low, too slow. Dinner table. Young. Hajun smirked at Vi. "You cook this well, or did Jungkook train you properly?" The words were playful, but his eyes weren't. We shifted uncomfortably. Jungkook laughed. "That's just how he jokes." Hajun leaned closer to Vi. "If you ever get tired of Jungkook, you know I'm right here." Vi's smile faded. "That's inappropriate," he said quietly. Hajun chuckled. "Relax. I'm kidding." But his foot brushed against Vi's leg under the table. Not accidentally. Vi pulled away. Jungkook didn't notice. "Hajun makes me uncomfortable." Taehyung's fingers trembled as he read. "He looks at me in ways that make my skin crawl. I told Cook, but he said I'm overthinking." The words blurred. "I trust Jungkook, but I wish he trusted my instincts too." Taehyung's breathing grew uneven. "Cook, I'm serious," Vi said softly. "He flirts with double meanings. He stands too close." Jungkook sighed, frustrated. "Hajun's been my friend since childhood. He wouldn't cross a line." "You're trusting him blindly, and you're being sensitive." Vi's voice trembled. "I'm not trying to cause trouble. I just need you to listen to me." Jungkook softened slightly. "He jokes like that with everyone." "No," whispered. "Not like that." But Jungkook kissed his forehead and dismissed the concern. Taehyung's hands shook as he flipped pages. "Sometimes I feel like Hajun is waiting for something. Waiting for Cook to doubt me. Waiting for one mistake." A chill ran down Taehyung's spine. He kept reading. The morning felt wrong. We stood near the kitchen window, watching Jungkook adjust his watch. "I'll be late," Jungkook said lightly. "Stop staring at me like that." We forced a smile. "Hajun is coming over again?" "Yes, he left some important files before." V's fingers tightened around the teacup. "Can he not come when you're not home?" Jungkook paused. "You're still on that?" "Cook, I'm serious. I don't feel comfortable." Jungkook sighed. "You're imagining things again, trust me." We whispered softly. "I trust you. I just don't trust him." But Jungkook had already kissed his forehead. "I'll be back before dinner." And then he left. The knock came 20 minutes later. We hesitated before opening the door. Hajun stood there, smiling, but it wasn't friendly. "Alone?" Hajun asked casually as he stepped inside without waiting. "You stay here, I'll bring your files." "Okay," he replied, locking the door behind him. The click sounded louder than it should have. V's heartbeat quickened. "You should leave," V said firmly. "We can discuss it when Jungkook returns." Hajun laughed. "You're adorable when you pretend to be brave." Hajun's smile vanished. "You know," he said softly, "I saw you long before Jungkook did." V froze. "What?" "At my father's office. You were waiting for paperwork. Nervous, shy. I thought, I want him." V's stomach twisted. "That's disgusting." "No," Hajun corrected calmly. "What's disgusting is that he got you." His eyes darkened. "I've hated him ever since." "You think I joke?" Hajun stepped closer. "You think I flirt for fun?" V's back hit the wall. "I've been watching you for months." Fear spread cold through V's veins. "Stay away from me." Hajun pulled out his phone, tapped the screen, and turned it toward V. V's breath stopped. It was him, in the bathroom, showering, unaware. The angle, hidden, secret, illicit. "You installed a camera?" V's voice broke. Hajun smiled. "You're even more beautiful when you don't have clothes." V's knees weakened. "That's illegal." "Who would believe you?" Hajun tilted his head. Sweet, dramatic V. Tears burned V's eyes. "Delete it." "Why would I?" Hajun leaned closer, voice dropping. "Unless you give me something better." We shoved him hard. "Get out." And that was the moment Jungkook walked in. The door opened. Jungkook stood frozen. Hajun quickly grabbed V's wrist, pulled him closer, making it look intimate, making it look mutual. V struggled. "Let go of me." Hajun's voice turned urgent. "Jungkook, I tried to stop this." Jungkook's world shattered. "What is this?" "It's not what you think," V cried. Hajun lowered his head, pretending guilt. "I didn't want to tell you." "Tell me what?" Jungkook demanded. "I didn't want to ruin your marriage," Hajun whispered. "But he came on to me first." V's voice cracked. "That's a lie." Jungkook's eyes burned with disbelief and rage. "Enough." V grabbed Jungkook's arm desperately. "Cook, please. He's manipulating this. He's been threatening me." "Threatening you?" Jungkook scoffed. "With what?" "I didn't know he filmed me." Hajun laughed softly. "Convenient." Something changed in Jungkook that day. He didn't scream. He didn't break things. He just went cold. Colder than winter. He stopped touching Fao. Stopped looking at him.
Days passed. We felt trapped. Hajun texted him, "If you try to expose me, I'll leak the video." We stared at the message with shaking hands. If that video spread, his dignity, his privacy, destroyed. And worse, Jungkook would believe it confirmed everything. We felt cornered, alone, unheard. He began writing more in his diary. "If something happens to me, I hope someone reads this." Taehyung closed the diary slowly. His hands trembled violently. It was worse than he imagined. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was cruel. Hajun had planned destruction, and Jungkook had helped him by refusing to listen. The room still smelled like lavender. Taehyung was sitting on the edge of V's old bed when the door slammed open. Jungkook stood there, fury in his eyes. "What are you doing in here?" His voice echoed violently. Taehyung didn't flinch this time. I needed to know. You had no right, Jungkook shouted. Those are his things, his memories. You don't get to touch them. Taehyung stood slowly, holding the diary against his chest. No, he said quietly. You don't get to keep hiding behind them. The words stunned Jungkook into silence. You think this room protects him? Taehyung's voice trembled but didn't break. It doesn't. It only protects your guilt. Stop. He was innocent. The air shifted. What? He never betrayed you. Jungkook's jaw tightened. You don't know what you're talking about. I do, Taeyang stepped forward. Because he wrote everything. He held out the diary. Jungkook stared at it like it was poison. I don't need to read that. You do, Taeyang said firmly. If you ever loved him, read it. Silence. Heavy. Shaking. Finally, Jungkook grabbed the diary. His hands were trembling. He sat in the chair slowly, turned the first page, and began reading. The house felt like it was holding its breath. Page after page. Hajun's inappropriate comments. V's discomfort. The warnings Jungkook ignored. The hidden camera. The threats. The staged scene. The fear. The last desperate lines. I never betrayed you. I just wanted you to believe me. Jungkook's vision blurred. His chest tightened painfully. The words felt like knives. Every memory replayed differently now. Hajun's fake concern, his too perfect timing, the way we cried, not angrily but desperately. Jungkook's hands shook violently. I, his voice cracked. I didn't know. You didn't listen, Taehyung whispered. Jungkook's breathing became uneven. He stood abruptly, pacing. I trusted the wrong person. I loved him. Jungkook's voice broke completely. I loved him so much. But you didn't trusted him, Taeyang replied softly. Jungkook collapsed to his knees, the diary falling from his hands. I killed him, he whispered, with my doubt, with my pride. The guilt wasn't loud, it was suffocating. Jungkook's eyes darkened. Hajun. The name tasted bitter. He ruined everything. And you let him, Taeyang said gently. Jungkook looked up sharply. I'm not blaming you, Taeyong added quickly. But you need to accept your part too. Jungkook closed his eyes. I should have protected him. Yes, the honesty hurt. But I can't talk to him now. He's gone. Those words shattered Jungkook all over again. I want to apologize, he whispered. I want to tell him I believe him. Taeyong's voice softened. Then start by believing him now. The silence between them wasn't hostile anymore. It was raw, fragile. Jungkook stood slowly, walked closer. For the first time, he looked at Taeyang not as a ghost, not as a replacement, but as himself. You shouldn't have gone into this room, Jungkook said quietly. I know, but thank you. Taehyung's heart skipped. Jungkook's eyes were red. I'm sorry for how I've treated you. The apology felt unfamiliar on his tongue. I was unfair, cruel. Yes, Taehyung said honestly. A faint, broken smile touched Jungkook's lips. You don't sugarcoat anything. I don't want to lie to you. Jungkook reached out. His fingers hovered near Taehyung's hand, then hesitated. Don't get too close to me, Jungkook said softly. Taehyung's heart sank. Why? Because I don't know if I can give you everything. His voice was honest, exposed. I'm still stuck in my past. I still wake up hearing his voice. I still feel like loving someone else means betraying him. Taeyang stepped closer anyway. I'm not asking you to erase him. Jungkook looked up slowly. I am asking you to see me. The words trembled. I don't want to be his shadow. I don't want to be your guilt. I want to be someone you choose. Silence. Jungkook's throat tightened. You deserve better than me. I don't want better, Taehyung whispered. I want you. The vulnerability in his voice broke something open. You're stubborn, Jungkook murmured. And you're scared. A long pause. Then Jungkook did something he hadn't done since V died. He reached forward and pulled Taehyung into his arms. The hug wasn't passionate. It was desperate, broken, human. I don't know how to start again. Jungkook confessed into his shoulder. Then we'll start slowly, Taehyung replied. I'll wait. Jungkook pulled back slightly. His eyes were softer now. My life, he said quietly. It doesn't feel complete without him beside me. Taehyung's breath caught. And Jungkook hesitated. Then finally, if you're willing to walk it with me, I'll try. I don't want to repeat my mistake and do same thing with you, which I had done with V. Tears welled in Taehyung's eyes. That's all I'm asking. Jungkook brushed a tear from his cheek, and for the first time, the locked room didn't feel like a prison. Taehyung felt uncomfortable feeling of being watched. He was walking Hyun home from school when a black car slowed beside them. The window didn't roll down. It just followed too slowly. Yuma, that car is scary. Taehyung forced a calm smile. It's nothing, Angel. But his heartbeat thundered. The car finally drove off. That evening, Taehyung found something on the kitchen counter. An envelope. No stamp, no address, just his name. Inside, printed screenshots. Photos of him walking with Hyon, leaving the house, shopping. Someone had been documenting his routine. His breathing turned uneven. His hands shook violently. Jungkook entered moments later. What's wrong? Taehyung handed him the photos silently. Jungkook's face darkened instantly. He followed you? Taehyung nodded. And her own. That was the moment Jungkook truly snapped. The bar was nearly empty. Rain tapped softly against the windows. Hajun sat in the corner booth, looking exactly the same. Relaxed, as if years hadn't passed. You look terrible, Hajun smiled. Jungkook didn't sit. You ruined my marriage. Hajun laughed softly. You ruined it yourself. You manipulated everything. I simply helped you see what you wanted to see. Rage flooded Jungkook's veins. You filmed him, you blackmailed him, and Hajun shrugged. He was too pure, too loyal. It was irritating. The bar was nearly empty. Rain tapped softly against the windows. Hajun sat in the corner booth, looking exactly the same. Relaxed, as if years hadn't passed. You look terrible, Hajun smiled. Jungkook didn't sit. You ruined my marriage. Hajun laughed softly. You ruined it yourself. You manipulated everything. I simply helped you see what you wanted to see. Rage flooded Jungkook's veins. You filmed him, you blackmailed him, and Hajun shrugged. He was too pure, too loyal. It was irritating. Hajun woke up tied to a chair. Concrete walls, dim light, cold air. Jungkook stood in front of him, silent, controlled, no rage on his face. Something worse. You always liked hidden spaces, secret cameras, Jungkook said calmly. Hajun tried to laugh. It came out shaky. You won't do anything. You are not that kind of person. Jungkook stepped closer. I wasn't. Hajun's confidence cracked. You think this scares me? No, Jungkook replied calmly. But prison will. Hajun's face paled. You? I already sent the evidence. Silence fell. You don't get to beg for death, Jungkook continued coldly. You get to live with what you did. Hajun's voice trembled now. Please, we begged you to stop. Jungkook leaned closer. You don't deserve mercy, but I won't become you. Sirens echoed faintly in the distance. Jungkook untied him. You're done. He walked upstairs as police pounded on the door. For the first time in years, Jungkook felt something lift from his chest, but not peace. A week later, the house felt different. Safer, warmer. Haun was drawing at the dining table. Appa, yes, Angel? She looked up seriously. I want a baby. Taehyung nearly dropped the spoon he was holding. A baby? Jungkook blinked. Yes, my friend has a baby brother. I want one too. Jungkook cleared his throat. Well, babies are complicated. How do you make one? She asked innocently. Taehyung choked. Jungkook looked at him for help. Taehyung's ears turned red. Uh, when two people love each other very much. They pray? Haun asked. Jungkook quickly nodded. Yes, exactly. A lot of praying. Haun seemed satisfied. Okay, pray fast. She skipped away happily. Taehyung covered his face. That was traumatic. Jungkook laughed softly. The sound surprised them both. It had been a long time since laughter felt natural. Later that night, Jungkook winced while removing his shirt. His shoulder still hurt from the fight with Hajun. Taehyung noticed immediately. Let me help. It's fine. It's not. Jungkook hesitated. Then quietly, can you help me shower? Taehyung froze. In the bathroom, steam filled the air. Taehyung's hands trembled slightly as he helped wash Jungkook's hair. Jungkook watched him carefully. You're nervous. Yes. Why? Because I don't want this to disappear tomorrow. Jungkook turned to face him fully, water dripping down his shoulders. It won't. Taehyung's voice softened. I accepted you knowing you might never love me. I was afraid, Jungkook admitted. Loving you felt like betraying him. And now it feels like honoring him by not repeating my mistake. Taehyung's eyes filled slightly. I won't leave you. Jungkook reached out carefully. And I won't push you away. The kiss that followed was slow, careful, intentional, not desperate. For the first time, Jungkook wasn't kissing a memory. He was kissing Taehyung. Weeks passed. Hajun was sentenced quietly. One evening, Jungkook visited V's grave, white lilies in hand. I finally know the truth, he whispered. I'm sorry it took me too long. The wind moved gently. I'm trying to live again. He placed the flowers down. And I think you'd want me to. For the first time, he left without feeling crushed. Taehyung had been feeling strange, tired, nauseous, emotional. He stared at the test in disbelief. Two lines. His hands shook. When Jungkook came home, Taehyung was sitting on the couch silently. What's wrong? Jungkook asked, worried. Taehyung handed him the test without speaking. Jungkook stared, then blinked, then looked up slowly. Is this? Taehyung nodded. Tears spilled from his eyes. I was scared to tell you. Jungkook dropped to his knees in front of him. You're pregnant? Yes. Silence. Then Jungkook broke down, not from pain, from gratitude. He pressed his forehead against Taehyung's stomach. Thank you. Taehyung laughed softly through tears. For what? For staying. For loving me when I didn't deserve it. For giving high on the sibling she prayed for. He looked up at him, eyes full, not haunted, not distant. Hyun ran into the room suddenly. Did the prayer work? Jungkook laughed through tears. Yes, Angel. Taehyung smiled softly. Yes, it did. Now, the house wasn't haunted. It was alive.